Hey everyone, it's Dr. Jeff LaCure, and you know what time it is. It is time for your wake-up call. I want to thank everybody for the great feedback on my three-parter of how to recharge your intimate love and sex life. Lots of good feedback. I didn't get one negative comment, which actually makes me a little nervous because we all grow from constructive criticism. I do hope that there were wonderful life and emotional and relationship lessons there for you. And so now I'm going to go, as promised, to the other side, to the dark side, to a topic that very few people want to talk about, like to talk about, know how to talk about, but that's why I'm here. Because I'm really comfortable talking about it, and I've guided a lot of singles and couples through this very tricky topic. This will probably be a two-parter for you, and this is understanding really why infidelity takes place. And first and foremost, I got to hit you with the numbers. The numbers are all over the place. Excuse me, it depends on what research you look at. But there are studies that suggest that 1 out of 5 women and 1 out of 4 married men have been unfaithful. I'm telling you right now, as a shrink, those numbers are way too low. I would say the conservative numbers are 1 out of 3 married women and 1 out of 2 married men have been unfaithful. Now we have to define what it means to be unfaithful, because a lot of people think that something physically took place, and certainly if you're in a relationship and you have stepped outside of your relationship into a physical encounter, yeah, you've cheated. The however is, thanks to technology now, there's a lot of people who have been unfaithful. They've never even had a physical encounter with the person, but there is emotional infidelity. And I'm going to define it as clearly as I can, right? If this is your phone and you are texting or corresponding with somebody and you don't, I guess I got to stop smoking, and you don't want your partner looking over your shoulder because of what you're texting back and forth, that's emotional infidelity. Not that you ever want your partner, even if you're just talking to a friend or your family member, reading your messages, I get it. But if you are texting something or corresponding with somebody and you do not want your partner to see it, it's in all likelihood emotional infidelity. And as we know, if you play with a match, you might get burned. So I'm going to tell you, as we look at all kinds of infidelity, both the emotional kind, both the physical kind, and the most dangerous kind, which is both, I think the numbers are far greater. Some of the research that I've seen suggests half of women have been unfaithful, and 60 to 65% of men have been unfaithful. And I don't anticipate that those numbers are going to decrease. And I'm going to hit you with a phrase that's going to upset a lot of women and actually destroy the bro code, which is, and I believe it was Chris Rock in one of his stand-up bits in 1999, I believe. That's right, I'm old school, I still live there. Said, but he was right, that men tend to be as faithful as their options. Men tend to be as faithful as their options. What does that mean? Well, I think what he was implying is that if a man has an option, he is at the crossroads, and suggesting, and the research backs it up, that men given the opportunity to be unfaithful and not get caught will do something. Now that's a frightening thing to talk about, but I have to go into our DNA. I have to talk about the psychology of men, of women, how we're built and how we're created. So let's do a little biology lesson, a little DNA lesson, a little psychological lesson, right? The wake-up call, right? This is going to wake you up. This is going to shatter some dreams. You're going to have interesting conversations, although many of you might be afraid to ask your partner. But here's the deal. Men are hardwired not to be monogamous. Let me repeat that. Men are hardwired. It's not in our DNA to be monogamous. We are not swans. Swans mate for life, male and female. If their partner ever dies, that swan will never mate again. That swan will always be a single. Men are hardwired, ironically, to have as many intimate relationships with as many women as they can. It's called carrying on the healthy DNA. It's called healthy procreation. The great news is it doesn't mean we have to. But I'm going to tell you flat out, for both men and women, monogamy is a choice. It's a cultural thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's a religious thing. And I'm not knocking it, but I'm telling you it's artificial. What's in our DNA is, again, to have as much physical encounters with as many healthy women as possible to guarantee healthy bloodlines. But again, I want to stress the point. We can make personal decisions to not do that. And a little bit later, I'm going to talk about the implications of infidelity on men and women, and they are profound. I also want to highlight that I really believe too, and I think the research bears it out, women are not born to be monogamous. To stay in a relationship just with one person is a decision. It is a choice. It is not how we're born. It may be how we're raised. It may be how the church or synagogue taught us, but it is not, again, in our DNA. So you got to recognize that when you're thinking about long-term relationships, right? And I really want to get underneath what's going on in many long-term relationships, or for that matter, short-term relationships, that make a relationship vulnerable to cheating, right? To be honest with you, if you show me a husband and wife who have been together 50 years, and they swear on a stack of Bibles, and they pass a lie detector, and they've never cheated, I want them in the Museum of Science. I want them in Washington, D.C. at the Museum of American History. I think that's one of them. Who knows? I guess I got to get up to date on my history. And I consider myself a historian. Figure that one out. What I will tell you, show me one person. If you're out there, come on in. We'll black out your face. We'll put a little screen in front of you so that no one can see it's you. It is normal to wonder. It is normal to think about. It is normal to notice. So if that couple who's been together for 50 years says they never had a crossroad moments, I believe they're being dishonest. I really do. But it goes back to men are as faithful as their options. And not every man is going to get a lot of options. But think about the men who always get a lot of options. Think about it. Who are the men that get copious amounts of options? Successful men get copious amount of options. Athletes, actors, musical performers, leaders of industry, right? Those kinds of people are getting non-stop offers. And the irony is, right, here's DNA. This is irrefutable. You're not going to like what I'm about to say, but this is irrefutable. When that man, that athlete, that actor, that performer, that business leader, that successful, confident alpha male has a wedding ring on his finger, believe it or not, he gets even more opportunities to be unfaithful. And a lot of you are wondering, how is that possible? Shouldn't that wedding band be kryptonite to any woman? You would think so. But this isn't a show about thought. This is a show about facts. And the facts are, a married man has been vetted. There's a word you don't hear often. A married man has been vetted. And if he's got a wedding band on, there's sort of this subconscious, unconscious feeling for a lot of women that he must be a good guy. Somebody else has vetted him. Somebody else has said, I'm willing to marry him. It's very powerful. It's very profound. And I will tell you, flat out, and please don't think of me as being elitist or what are all those negative words. You know what? I don't care what you think of me, to be honest. Apparently, I didn't think much of myself today because I'm in all pink. There's confidence for you. Look, I'm just radiating pink today, and I'm pumped about it. And no socks. Wow. You hit me with a 40-degree day, and I'm dressing like it's spring. Back to the point. For men, what we know, and you're not going to want to hear it, and again, I don't want you thinking I'm being elitist, is the dude who is the janitor at your local high school doesn't have a ton of opportunities to cheat. Who's he going to cheat with? There's no one else in the building from 12 to 8 or 10 to 6. And I've never seen in any personal online dating sites where a woman says, I'm looking for a custodian. I'm looking for a guy who works at the International House of Pancakes. Delightful pancakes, by the way, but not a sponsor. Right? What mom of a woman is thrilled to say to her friends at bingo, boy, I got to tell you what, Lorraine's got a winner. He is a custodian second shift at the high school. No. But I'll tell you right now, Lorraine just had a date with a professional basketball player. Angels are singing. There's all kinds of excitement and pure joy. He's not going to be faithful to you, by the way. Have fun with that one. Date a pro athlete who travels on the road without you and see if he's going to be faithful. Have fun. It's about opportunity. And the dude working custodian or, cleaning a hospital floor or working as a host at a restaurant that doesn't have a lot of business. The dude that you see at Cumberland Farms, not a sponsor, that says to you $20 or you buy your scratch ticket from him. He's not high value. I'm not knocking him as a person. I'm not knocking who he is as a human being. I'm certainly not knocking him as a man, but women are knocking him. And when women knock him, they don't want to sleep with him. It's the deal. It's the deal. I forget which university did this study, but they asked men, married men of a variety of different ages, from a variety of different cultures, from a variety of length of time that they've known their wife, from a variety of times they've been married to their wife, from a variety of experiences. I love my wife. She's the best, to made a mistake. But they asked the question. It's the Las Vegas question. It's whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas question, which is, hey, if you could go away and you know you wouldn't be discovered, and a woman approached you at a bar and offered you the opportunity to go back to her room, and the only person who would ever know that you were unfaithful was that woman and you, would you do it? Guess how many people corresponded back that they would? Dramatic pause. Ready? Feel like I'm on Jeopardy. 85%. And to be honest with you, not that I've been lying to you for 15 minutes, I think that number's too low. I think some men lied. I absolutely believe that some men told the truth, right? And of that 15% who said I wouldn't do it, I believe that they exist. You're looking at one right now. There is no way in hell. I'm telling you, no way. Not that this is a show about me, but there is no way I will be unfaithful to my fiance, to my future wife. Not going to happen. We'll talk about that later in the podcast, maybe in part 2. Not going to happen. And I'm not doing this, but I can promise you that if I happen to be in Vegas on a business trip, I would not be shocked if someone knocked on my door, not my room door, but my metaphorical door, to say they expressed some interest. If I were presenting at a conference, if I were keynoting at a conference, if I were doing a book signing at a conference, I'm telling you, somebody would knock on the metaphorical door. And I'm not opening that door up, because that is unconditional love. See, that's a choice. That's a decision. All right, I'm off my soapbox. But the majority of men, if they knew they could get away with it, no matter how much they loved their partner, would. What do we know about that? We know that men were not born to be monogamous. They were, however, born to make a choice and to make a decision. And I'm going to tell you right now, flat out, to be cheated on is devastating for both men and women. It is soul crushing. It changes their future. It changes, if the relationship can make it through, and very few do. Remember, I work with couples all the time. If they can make it through, here's what we know. They will never have 100% trust ever again. And let's say it's the guy who cheated on his wife. Every time he's 10 minutes late, she's going to wonder. Every time he goes on a business trip, she's going to wonder. Every time he goes out with friends to, say, even poker night, something so benign, she's going to wonder. Every time he goes to the gym and his workouts last, say, an hour, and this one lasted an hour and 20 minutes, she's going to wonder. Every time he leaves the house and looks good, she's going to wonder. Every time he leaves the house and he smells good, she's going to wonder. Every time he gets new clothes, a haircut, shaves, anything, she's going to wonder. And then the bomb, the biggie. Every time his phone dings and he looks at it, she's going to wonder. So, guys, I'm speaking to you right now. You got to think about that, because at minimum, if you make it through, and a small percentage of men and women can tolerate that and rebuild trust, but you never get to 100%. And it will. Relationships are already tricky and difficult long-term anyways, right, because of the natural evolution. But you throw in an affair, wow. And I will throw this out too. This is how it feels to a woman to have her husband cheat on her, or a boyfriend, or a fiance, somebody she truly loves and cares about. It is devastating. She immediately feels overwhelmed with grief. She immediately feels like, and ironically, is it me? Like, how could he do this to me? He told me all these beautiful, sweet things, and now I have to wonder, were any of them true? And guys love to do this because they're, God, I don't want to offend anybody, but sometimes we're idiots. They tell their wife, she meant nothing to me. That's almost the worst thing you could say. So imagine being the woman, imagine being the wife. So you're telling me you sacrificed our marriage for a woman who meant nothing to you. You know the woman's thinking, was it worth it? Was it truly worth it? And guys, I want you to envision holding a baseball bat, a major league baseball bat, right? It's a 36, probably, 24 in weight. It's heavy, it's solid, right? You know that. Those baseball bats are big and they're thick and they're hard. And you just hit her over the head. You just hit her in the gut. You just broke both of her knees. And it creates a trauma that I don't know if anybody ever gets over, honestly. So what do I recommend? If you ever feel like you're going to, or that you're tempted to, or that you even want to. There's nobody in your life, but you're like, maybe. You got to have a conversation with your partner, right? Because there's a breakdown somewhere in the relationship, right? Now, I've already done my three-parter on the sexual dynamics and recharging your physical and sexual relationship. So I want you guys to go back to it, watch it over and over again with your partner. But when it comes to infidelity, right, usually there's something missing. And a lot of people assume, oh, it's just sex. And in some cases, it is. But in most cases, it's a real recognition and acknowledgement and not feeling recognized, not feeling acknowledged, not feeling respected. See, if you cheat on your partner, I can't imagine anything more disrespectful. Like, really. We're wired to cheat. I mean that sincerely. Men and women, we're wired to cheat, particularly men. But we have free will. We can choose not to. And if you truly care about your partner, you're never going to cheat. You're never going to go online. By the way, not most, but many profiles on the major online dating, a lot of married folks. But back to the point. If you truly care about them, like if you really care about your partner, you need to start talking about vulnerable moments much sooner in the relationship so that you don't get to that place, the cheating place of vulnerability. And if you guys can't make it through, and a lot of marriages can't, the kindest thing you will do is end it. End it. End the relationship before you cheat. As painful as it is to end a relationship, their dignity is still intact. But if you cheat on them and then the relationship ends, their dignity is not intact. It's just not. And I will tell you, to the guys out there, and I do this a lot with singles who come in, both men and women, who have cheated on their partners, and they come in overwhelmed with grief and guilt. You should have thought about that first. And here's the mistake most cheaters make. God, it's one of the most selfish acts a person can ever do to somebody they supposedly love. You ready for this one? What's one of the most selfish acts a cheater? So they've already cheated, so that's the selfish. But this is even more selfish. Don't do this. Do not do this. It's so selfish. You tell your partner that you've cheated. That's right. You selfish SOB. You just told your partner that you've cheated. You have soul crushed your partner to somehow cleanse your soul. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed with guilt. I can't sleep at night. So now I want to make sure you can't sleep at night. I have cleansed my soul. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. She meant nothing to me. Oh, God, I got that off my chest. I got that off my soul. I got that out of my head. That's selfish. You know what I say to singles who say, should I tell my partner? I go, hell no. You take that to your grave and you stop immediately. Yeah, you stop immediately. You tell Sammy or Samantha, whichever floats your boat, no more. No more. You never tell your partner that you've cheated. Ever. Someone holds a gun to your head, you take a bullet. Because by telling them they have taken a bullet, and it is not fair. It is not fair to cause them that level of pain. You do not compound a bad thing with a worse thing. And I can hear some of you out there, Dr. Jeff, shouldn't we be honest in our relationships? Yes, we should. However, nothing's more important than protecting our partner from protectable pain. I'm telling you, there is no value in telling your partner you've cheated. There's huge value in telling your partner that you're vulnerable to, that you think about, but you haven't done it. That's the honesty we want to share. So I'm telling you point blank, if you've ever cheated on your partner, you take that to the grave. You don't tell a friend. You don't tell a family member. You tell a clergy member in private. You tell a shrink in private, but you keep that to yourself. Do not unload your guilt onto your partner and expect them to forgive you. I'm telling you, it's grossly, I love that word, grossly unfair. Now let me pull it back because I got a little intense, a little fired up for you and with you. It is normal in our relationships, right? It's normal to just kind of wonder and imagine and have a thought or two, right? And clearly it's normal to cheat because the majority of people do. But normal and healthy is different than normal, right? A lot of people drink. I guess I'd say it's normal in our country. A lot of people vape. I guess I would say it's normal in our country. I can think of a lot of other things that are normal. But what's normal and healthy? And I'm going to say it again to you. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm going to say it again. Don't do it. Don't be unfaithful. Don't go on your phone. Don't have a little secret texting. Oh, I think about you. I miss you. I wish. And if you ever want to know what the true definition of a fool is, F-O-O-L, like I want you to look it up. The true definition of a fool is this. A fool will cheat with somebody who's in a committed relationship, and then that committed relationship breaks up, and then you end up being in the committed relationship with the person who cheated with you. And then you foolhardily believe they won't cheat on you. Remember, one of the best indicators of future behavior is past behavior. So if you're a fool and you want to get into and engage in a sexual, emotional relationship with a married person or somebody who's in a committed long-term relationship, anticipating or expecting it's going to be beautiful and have a happy ending, wrong. The rate of divorce, first marriages, is about 60% right now. It's you know, it's sad. Right? There's a lot of reasons. We'll talk about it, different podcasts, different day. The divorce rate for a couple who cheated with each other or on each other, but with each other, right? So somehow maybe they were both married and then they cheated, or one person was married and they got in with a person who was single, vice versa. It's over 85%. You got no shot. Those don't even last 3 years. Because you've already done all the electricity. You've already done all the Motel 6s. You've already done all the clubs. You've already done all the sneaking around. You've already done all the back seats. You've already done all the excitement. And now you don't have a boundary anymore. Like we can just now go out in public. Right? The mysterious, the electricity of being sneaky is gone. And most importantly, you know that since they cheated on their partner to be with you, what are they doing now? And you know exactly what they're doing. And that, my friends, is the definition of a fool. Let that marinate for just a moment. So I'm going to wrap up part one today. I've given you, I think, a very powerful, I hope you think it's powerful, an eye-opening expose on infidelity. What I want to do as we wrap up next time on part two is how to sort of cheat-proof your relationship. And there really are some ways to do it. But at the end of the day, we have to be strong enough in character, to say, no way in hell am I doing that to my partner. And I'll personalize it. I hope there's some value when I make some, share some anecdotes or personal experiences. But I've shared with my fiance a couple of times because we talk about it, not in the what if category, because I feel like we're both very immune to infidelity. I really do. And it comes out of not just love, but a mutual respect for each other. But for me, one of the things that I have shared that no way am I ever going to be unfaithful to her is really for these three big reasons. I like her too much. This one I want you to really hear. I respect her too much. And thirdly, and the third one's very selfish, I do not want my legacy with my fiancée, soon to be wife, to be, well, the dude cheated on me. Because it diminishes everything else that came before. And we really do have this wonderful and amazing relationship. And I know everybody says that. You're not being honest. We actually have a really amazing relationship. Yep, we're like everybody else. We have our moments. Boy, do we have our moments. But unlike most people, we thrive, we grow, we evolve through those moments and become stronger than ever. And that is why I'll never cheat on her, because I respect her, because I truly like her, and I don't want her to have to deal with that level of emotional pain. Please, somebody, write me, email me, liqueurj@yahoo, and tell me a one-nighter is worth sabotaging a beautiful experience. Please tell me how a weekend away with another person is worth soul-crushing the person you've never loved more than. Let me know how that balances out. Let me know how sex with a stranger could possibly outweigh the magnificent pain that it would cause to a person we love more than life itself. If you cheat, you don't like you. You got a hole in your soul, and you're looking for someone else to fill it. Don't do that to your partner. And when we meet next week, we're going to talk about how to just cheat-proof that relationship, how to strengthen that relationship. I'll give you some scenarios, and we'll talk about them. Until then, that's right, it's Dr. Jeff LaCure, and this has been your wake-up call. I'll see you real soon.